Trump administration scoring two major victories on efforts to end the border crisis. First, the president announced a new asylum deal with Guatemala, saying it will put, quote, coyotes and smugglers out of business. Then, secondly, the Supreme Court this week clearing the way for the administration to use $2.5 billion in Pentagon money for border wall construction. Joining me right now is Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Kevin McAleenan. And Mr. Secretary, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Good to be with you.
I want to ask you about the impact of these two major victories that we're talking about. But first, can you assess the situation? We've heard a lot in these last couple of weeks from the likes of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to Lindsey Graham. The senator came back and came on the show after he viewed the border. What can you tell us in terms of what is happening today?
Yeah, well, Maria, the situation's improving on the border by almost every measure, but we do remain in the midst of a significant humanitarian and border security crisis. Let me give you some of the statistics. Back in May, we were apprehending about 4,650 people a day at that southern border. Now that number's about 2,600, so we've had a significant drop, 28% in June, another 20+% in July so far, and that's due to two administration initiatives, engaging our international partners in Mexico and Guatemala in particular. Mexico has stepped up and addressed security on their southern border between Chiapas and Guatemala and the transportation routes that smugglers are using. And as you heard, Guatemala has agreed not only to work with us on asylum in the region, but has already been taking actions to tackle criminal organizations that are smuggling families and kids. At the same time, we've reduced the number of people in custody at the border, those challenging situations with crowding that we were having. We had almost 20,000 people in custody in early June. That number last night was 7,200, and we reduced the number of unaccompanied children by 90%. So we've made a lot of progress thanks to the president's engagement, the administration's efforts, and finally Congress giving us the emergency supplemental funding, but we got more to do.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. We've got these numbers up that we're showing. Unaccompanied alien children in June were 7,378, way down from May's numbers of 11,000 plus. Family units, you've got in June 57,389, way down from the 84,491 that we saw back in May. You also, when I spoke with you earlier, you told me that in the month of June, there weren't any in the month of July, there weren't any large groups because you had been having busloads of people, right? Thousands of people crossing at once. No major groups in the month of July?
Exactly. That's been one of the significant efforts that Mexico's undertaken to reduce the phenomenon of large groups. Where you were at the border, Maria, in El Paso, we were seeing groups of 400, in one case, 1,036 people cross together at that point. In July, we've had groups in RGV of over 100, a few of them, but it's a completely different scenario than May when we had 28 large groups and up to 1,000 per group. It was a very different and challenging effort.
So going through the money that can be used, you already have the appropriated funding for 53 miles that have already been built, correct? You say you're going to have more than 200 miles built by next year. That money has been appropriated already. But then this second set of dollars, this is the DOD money, that has the potential to more than double the activity.
That's exactly right. There was a big victory at the Supreme Court to allow the Department of Defense to move forward with that $2.5 billion to really accelerate the progress on the wall and kind of double what we're doing with the congressionally appropriated funding, which is going well. As you know, we're up to 54 miles since we talked, building every day down there on the border, and that's already providing significant new operational capability and helping us control some high traffic areas of the border.
Yeah, we're looking at this new video, fresh video that we have from your office. So thank you for that, to really explain the story to our viewers. You know, some people talk about this as a national security issue, but they don't also talk about the cost. There's a real expense to having a surge in migrants at our borders and just the expense of holding them, right? Can you characterize that? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I guess one way to look at it is the $4.5 billion in the emergency supplemental that we had to ask for and we got from Congress finally after 2 months. $3.3 billion, 75% of that went to our partners at Health and Human Services simply for the care and custody of unaccompanied children for the remaining 4 months of the year. That's how expensive this is to try to provide the proper care, and just given the flows that we're facing at the border, the number of people and the number of dollars it takes to provide medical, education, appropriate settings for kids. And that's the kind of government cost alone that we're facing. But then there are costs in communities as well.
I want to get to what Congress needs to do, and they left town, of course, we know that. But before we get there, Explain the renting program. You know, when I was at the border in El Paso, I couldn't believe how many young children that I saw. I saw one 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. They said, oh, we were with my mother, but she left. She said she was going to get something to eat, and now she's gone. And then you had people who were questionable even as a family. So can you tell us what you've seen in terms of people renting children, renting family, and how they have to pay off the drug lords?
Absolutely. This is one of the most concerning areas within the crisis is the exploitation of children. We've had over 5,000 cases this year of adults bringing children across, claiming a family relationship, and it didn't exist. Some of that could be simply bringing a child for a friend who's already here in the U.S., but more nefariously, we've seen cases where children are used multiple times by different adults. We call it child recycling to come across. We've seen human trafficking, and in probably the most egregious case that we've seen this year, Homeland Security investigations through a DNA test and an interview identified a 51-year-old man who purchased a 6-month-old infant for $80 in Guatemala, and he was trying to use that infant to be released into the United States. Completely unacceptable, horrific.
That is horrific. So now connect the dots in terms of what can be done. I mean, we had Senator Lindsey Graham on this program 2 weeks ago. He said he was going to try to get a vote for his legislation that he's working on before the August recess. Here's what he told me just 2 weeks ago, Secretary. Listen to this.
I'm saying you can't apply for asylum in America anymore. You got to do it in your home country or Mexico. I'm also saying we can't process a minor claim in 20 days. Give us more time to process minor claims of families. 30% of the people with small children are fake families. The word is out in Central America. You bring a small child to the United States, you're home free. I want to change that narrative. We're going to vote before the August recess. I am willing to spend money to help Central America. Democrats have mentioned that. I will do that, but we've got to change our laws or this never stops.
That was 2 weeks ago. Are the leadership in Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador getting the message? And tell me about that bill. I know you worked closely with Senator Graham on that, right?
Absolutely. Senator Graham understands very well the 3 major loopholes that are driving this crisis, and his bill would address each one of them. We worked closely with him on the language to make sure we could close that down and reduce this incentive that's driving families and kids to take this dangerous journey in the hands of smugglers. But in terms of the governments in Central America, I've been down there multiple times as acting secretary, working with each of the 3 presidents, the new president in El Salvador. But Guatemala has really stepped up. We signed an agreement in May where they're tackling the alien smuggling organizations, and now on Friday, adding to that, addressing asylum together and trying to return the understanding of what asylum really means in international law. So that's what Senator Graham's bill would do as well.
And you need Congress to act. They left. Now you've got to wait 6 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, the only fundamental, durable solution to this crisis is congressional action. And we've made very clear the targeted changes in law that we need.
Secretary, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks very much for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Maria. Appreciate it.
We'll be watching Secretary McAleenan there.